I searched my son's name up on the dark web. I now know how he went missing. Jason had been missing for months, and despite all efforts by the police, private investigators, and even psychics, there was no trace of him. It was like he had vanished into thin air. The not knowing was eating me alive, a constant gnawing in my gut that wouldn't go away. In my desperation, I turned to the only place left, the dark web. I'd heard stories, rumors of hidden sites where the unimaginable took place, where you could find anything if you knew where to look. So, late one night, when I couldn't bear the silence of his empty room any longer, I sat down at my computer and began my descent into that digital abyss. I'd never ventured onto the dark web before, but after a few hours of research and trial and error, I found my way in. I started with the basics, entering chat rooms, scrolling through forums, and following leads that promised information on missing children. But it wasn't until I entered a seemingly innocuous forum that I found the lead I was looking for. The forum was a maze of twisted posts and cryptic threads, each one more disturbing than the last. But one thread caught my eye, a list of names followed by a series of numbers and symbols that made no sense to me. I scrolled down, scanning each name, until I saw it. Jason's name, right there on the screen. My breath caught in my throat. I stared at the screen, feeling like the ground had just been ripped out from under me. His name was listed among dozens of others, each one a child who had gone missing in the last year. And beside each name was a link. I hesitated for what felt like an eternity before I clicked on the link next to Jason's name. It took me to a page with a simple interface. No frills, just a single video file ready for download. My hands shook as I clicked on it, a small part of me screaming not to, that some things are better left unseen. But I couldn't stop myself. I had to know. The video started with static, the kind you'd see on an old VHS tape. Then it flickered, and the image of a dimly lit room came into focus. The camera was shaky, like it was being held by someone who didn't care much about steadying it. In the middle of the room was a single wooden chair, and sitting in that chair, blindfolded and gagged, was my son. Jason looked terrified, his clothes dirty and torn, his hands tied behind his back. My heart raced as I watched, helpless, as a shadowy figure moved into the frame. The man, if you could call him that, was tall and thin, his face obscured by a hood. He circled Jason like a predator, saying nothing, just letting the fear build. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. My eyes were glued to the screen, my mind screaming at me to do something, anything to save him. But there was nothing I could do except watch as the man leaned down, whispering something into Jason's ear. The audio was muffled, but I could make out a few words. Not the first, won't be the last. Jason flinched and the man straightened, moving out of the camera's view. That's when I noticed something I hadn't seen before, symbols on the walls of the room, drawn in what looked like blood. They were crude, almost childlike, but they filled me with a sense of dread I couldn't explain. The video cut out suddenly, leaving the screen black. I sat there in stunned silence. The image of my son's terrified face burned into my mind. I tried to process what I had just seen, but my brain refused to accept it. My son was alive, but he was in the hands of someone, something, so much worse than I had ever imagined. I spent the next few hours scouring the forum for more information, anything that could tell me where that video had been filmed or who the man was. But all I found were more links, more names, more videos. It was like a twisted